Welcome to Airplay Escape. Please consider subscribing to my Patreon account for the full audiobook. Thank you for your support. Football, the strongest centre in history, Episode 21, Ferguson's Concern, Special Genius Clause, Manchester. The office building at Carrington Training Base. An office on the top floor overlooking the entire training ground belonged to Sir Alex Ferguson, the helmsman of the Red Empire. On the walls of this spacious office, there is a huge electronic LCD screen. At the moment, Ferguson is watching Ronaldo's footage with his assistant, Mike Ferron. "How's it going, man?" Ferguson asked, touching his chin. As the most powerful football coach in the world today, Ferguson is also a little unsure now. He has already made up his mind that as soon as he wins another Premier League title, he will retire. However, the environment in the Premier League has now changed very significantly. The two-man turn between Manchester United and Arsenal, or the era when Manchester United dominated the Premier League, is long gone. Now in the Premier League, the atmosphere of commercialization is even stronger. With the huge commercial influence of the Premier League, many teams have made good profits and have begun to upgrade their squads. Teams such as Everton and Tottenham have also begun to have a sufficient squad. Of course, these two teams are not a threat to Manchester United today. The real henchman is Chelsea, it's Manchester City. These two teams received capital from Russian tycoons and Middle Eastern tycoons, respectively. Especially Chelsea. In recent years, it is not Arsene Wenger's Arsenal that can compete with Manchester United more. It's Chelsea. This is the first to open the golden era of the Premier League. Plus there is another Manchester City that seems to be more well-funded. Manchester United are now under increasing pressure. To retire with another Premier League title, Ferguson must find a way to make his team's attacking lineup stronger. In the past 2 years, the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo has had a great impact on Manchester United. Now Rooney, the attacking core that the team relies on, is also making a raise. Ferguson knew he had to find someone who could put Rooney under pressure and, at the very least, take on the team's goal responsibility when Rooney wasn't available. This man, he is very optimistic about Arsenal striker Robin van Persie. It's just that the captain who wants to buy Arsenal, especially the people who want to buy Arsenal, at least. This season is probably difficult. Van Persie has a 2-year contract left. If the contract is renewed this season, then basically Manchester United want to buy Van Persie, there is little hope. Therefore, Ferguson can only expect Van Persie not to renew his contract this season, and then throw money at Van Persie to buy it from Arsenal with 1 year left on his contract. Merely. Van Persie is good. But he has also come up with age. For Van Persie, who is almost 30 years old, Manchester United will not need a few years. In the end, you have to look for a centre that can be used for a long time. In recent seasons, Welbeck's performance, even Ferguson has lost some confidence. This black boy is probably not the answer to Manchester United's striker. The body is strong. The impact is strong. The header is outstanding. Merely. This footwork technique is so bad that if he's our player, he can only be a high school striker backup at best, and send in with a header to top when he can't open the situation, McPhelan said sharply. Modern football tactics demand more and more versatility from the centre. In addition to being responsible for scoring goals in the box, the centre must also withdraw to get the ball, respond to the attack, and even pull the side to catch the ball to launch an attack if necessary. A centre forward like Ronaldo, who relies purely on impact and headers, is becoming less and less common in modern football. You're right, man. Ferguson smiled. But you overlooked the point, he's only 18. 18 is old enough, I don't think his future foot skills will be much better. McFerrin shook his head and said. No, I don't expect his foot technique to be any better, I mean. He's only 18 years old, his header is so good, I think his impact ability can reach world class in the future, Ferguson said. McFerrin was stunned. Ferguson's words made him pause. Yes, who said that you must have good skills under your feet? If there is a central striker, he can score goals with impact and headers alone, scoring more than 30 goals in a season. Who cares if the technology under his feet is not good? Football, in the final analysis, depends on the final goal. No matter how you got in. The side that scores more goals wins. Let people stare at this kid, observe for a while longer, and if appropriate, winter window makes an offer to bring him to Manchester. Ferguson clapped the final decision. This kid looks like an Oriental, and when the time comes, the labor certification. I'll give him a special genius clause. Ferguson said with a wave of his hand. Any non-EU player who wants to play in the Premier League will run into the issue of labour certification. According to the UK Department of Labour, non-EU players brought in by English clubs must play in 75% of the country's international A matches in the past year, and the country's FIFA ranking must be in the top 64. Ronaldo is not an international and the Celestial Empire is ranked 80th in the world. Neither is Met. Therefore, Ronaldo wants to play in the Premier League and can only apply through the special talent clause. Alex Ferguson as Manchester United's manager, an iconic figure throughout the Premier League. He said that Ronaldo was a special genius. Ronaldo is a special genius. This clause will definitely be adopted. McVerron's eyes on Ronaldo were a little cautious. However, his boss said so, and he did not refute it. Because he believed in Ferguson. It's like Manchester United's trust in Alex Ferguson. Episode 22. The youth team could no longer accommodate him. The Manchester United scout, who was still in the Greater Paris area, received instructions from Manchester United almost immediately. Watch closely and submit scouting reports once a week. When he received this instruction, the scout was extremely excited. Because this shows that the little guy he unearthed has received the attention of the highest level, and if nothing else, Manchester United will make a move this winter. As long as Ronaldo can put in a consistent performance. Ronaldo didn't know that just one game had put him on the radar of a big club like Manchester United. On the same day, in the dressing room, the players went home after some celebration. After all, this is just an ordinary youth team game. It's normal to win. If you lose, even if it's a big hit. Paris Saint-Germain's youth training, in France, can wrestle with Ligue 1 giants such as Lyon, Marseille, and Monaco. Winning a small team is nothing. Ronaldo also returned to the dormitory and immediately entered the system space. Ready to start training. The super training ground function is very practical for Ronaldo, and he also knows that his foot skills are not good, and if he wants to supplement it, he must put in more effort than others. Normally, by the age of 18, the technique is basically set, but Ronaldo has a super training ground and can make up for this with extraordinary training time. At this moment, he suddenly found that he seemed to have upgraded. The character was upgraded from level 1 to level 2. Added a little skill point. Ronaldo touched his chin. This skill point, is it to open up a new skill, or to strengthen a previous skill? Ronaldo thought about it and decided to continue to improve the air boss skill. At this stage, his strongest weapon is a header. Improve other skills, even if you click, the effect will not be too big. Instead, continue to strengthen your own advantages, which is the most suitable for yourself at this stage. Therefore, after thinking about it, he immediately upgraded the Air Master skill to the second level. Air Master, LV2, skill description: when you jump up in the air, your judgment of the landing point, and even the confrontation of the body will rise a notch. At the same time, the success rate of the header attack will increase by 20%, and the success rate will increase with the level. The skill level is capped at level 5. A rush of heat. Ronaldo knew that his ability to fight in the air had been further strengthened. Moreover, the success rate of header goals has increased by 20%, which means that every header will be quite a threat. Ronaldo is already looking forward to the next game. There are still a lot of games in the youth team, but except for the Youth League and Youth Cup, major players like Ronaldo basically do not play in other competitions. In Europe, youth teams have a variety of competitions, but for Paris Saint-Germain's youth team, the focus is on the French Youth League. The next day, there was not much coverage of youth team matches. The local media only briefly covered the youth team match in a less prominent page. There is only a picture of one side of Ronaldo. But even so, Ronaldo was happy to see it. Although it is only a silhouette, it is enough to show his heroic posture. Due to the victory of the game, the team had a day off. On this day, Ronaldo didn't go there, sweating like rain in the training ground. Ronaldo's life is boring now. Train with the team during the day, learn French a little at night, and then enter the system's super training ground to continue training. Life becomes boring. But in football, Ronaldo had a big explosion. Second weekend. Ronaldo starts again in the Youth League. This time, the team came away from home against Rennes Juniors. In Youth League Group A, Rennes are the closest team, even surpassing Paris Saint-Germain. This is not a weak brigade. There were obviously more reporters coming to this game than in the last one. They all came to observe the legendary number 29. Ronaldo's tall body easily made him the center of the crowd. When he walked into the stadium, at least 20 cameras were pointed at him. 7 minutes into the game, Ronaldo then slammed open the door with his best-in-class header. Ronaldo shouted after the goal. The reporters pressed the shutter again to freeze his passionate celebration. Started 2 consecutive games and scored goals in 2 consecutive games. These professional football journalists are keenly aware of the gap. Perhaps a star of hope is rising. And in the next game, Ronaldo can be described as a kill. 33rd minute of the game. He scored the second goal. Or a header. A beautiful lion shakes its head. The football is without suspense and flies into the goal again. Before the first half was over, Ronaldo scored twice. Is this kid going to have 2 consecutive games in his senior year? A reporter muttered. After scoring the goal, Ronaldo ran to the sidelines, took off his shirt, and revealed the muscles explained inside, and the 8-pack abs were clearly contoured and very obvious. This muscle is his greatest asset. He rushed in front of the group of photojournalists and made a Mr. Bodybuilder move, highlighting his pecs and abs. In front of the camera, he brazenly showed off his body. Barr smiled, this show-off brat. At the same time, he also knows. The youth team can't keep Ronaldo. It's only been 2 weeks since he joined the team, but Barr knows about it now. Ronaldo must join the first team as soon as possible and play in League One. Wherever you go, Ronaldo may be able to get a bigger workout. But now the team's head coach Combuer seems to be a little overwhelmed. I don't know, is he willing to join Ronaldo in the main squad of Paris Saint-Germain, which is growing in stars? Barr thought for a moment, then said to his assistant, maybe I'm going to talk to Mr. Coach. Yes, we have to talk about it. Otherwise, Ronaldo's performance, if the Paris first team does not give him a chance, then he will soon be poached by other teams. Episode 23, Paris Saint-Germain's troubles. At the end of the game, the score was an astonishing 7-1. Ronaldo scored 4 goals alone. 8 in 2 rounds of league play, which is a very exaggerated statistic. So, after the game, Ronaldo was once again the focus of the reporter's pursuit. He is more than 190 centimeters tall, strong as a bear, has 2 consecutive rounds of big fours, and has a wild personality. This is simply a good gimmick hyped by journalists. But they were stopped again by Barr. Please give my players a little quiet space. Then you should at least tell us his nationality. Some journalists chanted. No comment. No comment? Is this still a secret? Is Monsieur Antoine there? The next day, take advantage of the time when the team is on holiday. Barr came to the base of the first team. Mr. Head Coach is upstairs, sir. A receptionist said respectfully to Barr. Barr nodded and walked into the elevator. Barr has been with Paris Saint-Germain's youth team for 16 years and has been the head of the youth team for 6 years. Within the team, many employees still respect him. At this time, Paris Saint-Germain manager Combuer can now be said to be in pain and happiness. This summer, after the Qatari consortium became the team's largest shareholder, Qatari tycoons began waving checks to recruit for Paris Saint-Germain. This summer, Paris is currently spending €91.5 million in transfer funds. They bought 8 players, including Javier Pastore, Jeremy Min, Mohamed Sissoko, Bryce Matuidi, Salvatore Sirigu, and Kevin Gamero. These are the hottest star-level players on the market right now. In a word, Paris has truly become a local tycoon. After one summer, their lineup has become the most luxurious lineup in the entire League One. But this lineup made Combuer happy and panicked at the same time. Because he has a very cold relationship with the team's new CEO, Leonardo. This is mainly because the Leonardo does not look at Combuer at all and is bent on changing Paris Saint-Germain with a more famous manager. This summer, Paris Saint-Germain has been involved with major stars. Is to have a scandal with all the famous marshals. Previously, Jose Mourinho appeared in Doha, Qatar. On the surface, Mourinho traveled to Doha for advertising reasons. However, he also met with the head of the investment firm, Nasser Al Khelaifi, in Doha and Qatar. And this Nasser Al Khelaifi is the manager of the Crown Prince of Qatar in Paris. Although there were no public statements from the two sides since then, everyone believes that Paris has extended an olive branch to Mourinho. However, as the head coach of Real Madrid, Mourinho still does not want to leave the position of Real Madrid. This also shows that Paris Saint-Germain has been looking for a manager who is worthy to Paris Saint-Germain since the beginning of the season. And Combuer, the little-known Frenchman, seems to be a transitional figure at best. As long as we keep winning, then I will always be the manager of Paris. In front of the media, Combuer said. It is quite the meaning of breaking the cauldron and sinking the boat. Even if you want to leave, leave with your head held high. Whoever it is, will have such an idea. However, it backfired. The luxury battleship that spent a lot of money this summer lost in the first round of League One. Combuer's team lost 1-0 at home to downstream team Luo Liang. Lost in the first round of the league. This made Combuer almost sitting on a crater. Local media in Paris have been criticizing Combuer's tactics, saying the manager is not in the slightest way worthy of Paris Saint-Germain's squad. Under Combuer, Paris Saint-Germain stars did not play well. Media in other parts of France took the opportunity to ridicule Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain nouveau riche usually buys 8 stars in a season, but with the stars they actually lost at home to a weak team. I think the Paris Saint-Germain hierarchy should know that just having a star doesn't necessarily mean winning, just like having money doesn't necessarily make you a giant. This is the report of the Lyon regional media, Le Sport de Lyon. The taste of mockery during the period speaks for itself. In short, after the first round of the league, Combuware was almost on the cusp of the storm again. Paris Saint-Germain have been so eye-catching this summer that it's definitely not easy to be the manager of such an eye-catching team. Episode 24, The Call of the First Team, 4 goals in 2 rounds of Youth League? When Barr sat across from Camber and recommended Ronaldo to him, Combuware was also stunned by Ronaldo's goal-scoring efficiency. Yes, I don't think the Youth League can give him more room to exercise. Barr nodded and said. The first team should give some opportunities to a youth product like this. Combuware was silent for a moment. To be honest, he is now even in his position very precarious, let him go and give a young player a chance. He wasn't very happy. After all, in his lineup, there are powerful forwards like Kevin Gamero and Mean. Even in addition to Kevin Gamero and Mean, he also has 2 forwards in his lineup, Arnold and Ledouan. In Combuware's opinion, 4 strikers are enough. If you join a Ronaldo, that's a bit crowded. Moreover, even if Ronaldo joins the team in the order of the strikers, it can only be ranked 5th. However, Combuware did not refuse Barr. Because Barr is a veteran of Paris Saint-Germain club and has a lot of prestige, at such a juncture, Camber does not want to offend Barr. Moreover, even if you recruit that kid into the team, there is nothing to lose to yourself. Anyway, it's just a fringe player in the first team, and it's okay to have one more person joining the training ground of the first team. Come out of Combuware. Barr returned to the youth team's training ground. At this time, on the training ground, the players of the youth team were training. Ronaldo and his teammates do various training programs under the direction of the coach. Barr didn't let Ronaldo off the training ground right away, he waited on the sidelines for half an hour. It wasn't until the end of the youth team's training that Ronaldo was called. Mr. Barr. Ronaldo wiped his sweat and stood in front of Barr. Barr nodded. Although it was only 2 weeks, Barr always felt that Ronaldo was probably the best player he had ever coached. He has excellent physical talent, and more importantly, although Ronaldo loves to show off, he likes to show off, and his temper is sometimes quite hot, but one thing is that Ronaldo will always be the most serious about training. Such a player has the most basic quality of success. I just hope that when Ronaldo is really famous in the future, just don't spoil it. Barr has seen a lot of young players who lose themselves once they become famous and eventually. Nor did it achieve the expected results. Luo, starting tomorrow, you will go to train with the first team. Barr didn't go around in circles either, and said directly. Ronaldo's eyes suddenly lit up, and he was a little incredulous. First team? I have only been in the team for 2 weeks, and I was actually called up to the first team? This is really surprising. How? Don't want to go? Nope. Of course not, Mr. Barr. Ronaldo's face was about to burst into laughter. From youth to first team, it's a hurdle. I don't know how many players got stuck on this hurdle. Being able to join the first team is also a leap forward for Ronaldo. Ro, your strengths and weaknesses are obvious, I hope you go to the first team to play to your strengths. But train your own shortcomings as well. I tell you, the first team game, even the reserve team game, the intensity of the game is not comparable to the youth team, don't be arrogant. No, I've never been arrogant. Haha, Ronaldo laughed. Seeing him like this, Barr knew that he had said it in vain. Forget it, this kid is only 18 years old, there are many things, if you don't experience it yourself, I'm afraid you won't understand it in this life. He waved his hand. Do well in the first team. Thank you, coach. Ronaldo bowed deeply to Barr. This surprised Barr a little, perhaps, this kid is not as carried away as he appears. In fact, Ronaldo's heart was full of joy. Coming out of the youth team training ground, Ronaldo immediately decided to tell his family the good news. Dad. Ronaldo was happy to hear his father's voice over the phone. He said to his father with unconcealed excitement, there is good news, huh? Dad didn't seem to react yet. What did you say? I said there is good news. Good news? Did you score again? Hearing that it was her son's call, Lu Yun also stopped and stood beside her husband. Lu Wei simply turned on the mobile phone into hands-free mode so that his wife could also listen to her son's voice. It's that fast, it's just over the game. I mean, your son and I have been transferred to the first team. First team? Lu Wei was stunned for a moment, and then reacted. Senior team? Can I play in the professional league? Of course. Really? Ro certainly knows what a first team means. Can there still be a fake? Haha, good, good. Lu Wei laughed, his son entered the first team, only then can he be regarded as a positive result, and he can be regarded as a real professional player. I have always been in the youth team before, and I have to worry about whether the first team can see my son. Now that the son has been transferred to the first team, the stone has landed. He let out a long breath. Well done, son. Mom shouted at her phone. Mom is there too? Ronaldo's voice was a little surprised. You said that. I'm not with your dad, what other woman can be by his side? Hey, hey, said Ronaldo with a smirk. Episode 25, The Strongest Man. For Lu away, the first team means that his son is out. And for Ronaldo, it means so much more. For the life of the first team, Ronaldo was full of longing. Here, he will play in the Pro League, where he has the opportunity to play and celebrate in front of tens of thousands of live viewers and millions of TV viewers. He will become a household name and get even more lucrative contracts. Opportunities to get a lot of advertising endorsements. Earn more money, become a big star, marry by Fume, and reach the peak of life. Of course, these are his visions. What he needs to do at the moment is meet his first-team teammates. Assistant coach Bertessi took Ronaldo to the dressing room and handed him over to the captain of the team, Mamadou Sakho. The captain is responsible for introducing new players to their teammates. Unlike in the youth team, almost mostly French, Paris Saint-Germain's dressing room is full of players from all over the world, who speak with different accents and are mostly well-known players with a lot of experience. However, this captain, Mamadou Sakho, is an exception. Sakho is only 21 years old and is a player developed in Paris Saint-Germain's own academy. In fact, 17-year-old Sakho is already the captain of Paris Saint-Germain, and he has gone through the field with the captain's armband. Last season, Nicolas established himself as the team's main central defender and was also appointed the team's first captain. With such a young captain, it is not easy to control Paris Saint-Germain's super international dressing room. Therefore, it is normal that although the game has only been played once this season, there are faintly that several small gangs have formed in the dressing room. By language, there are Spanish gangs, mainly a group of Brazilian players. There are Portuguese gangs, Argentine players like Pastor, and Uruguayan players like Lugano. And, of course, the French gang. In fact, Sakho also belongs to the French gang in a broad sense, but there are also small groups within the French gang, including Nicolas, Ariela, and other youth gangs who came out of the Paris Saint-Germain youth team, and Mine and other Frenchmen bought from all over Paris. Therefore, in Sakho's view, Ronaldo came out of the youth team and was born to be his own person. All of all, Nicolas is still very enthusiastic about Ronaldo. He took Ronaldo into the dressing room to introduce him to the first team players. Goalkeeper Sirigu, Italy's second goalkeeper, Buffon's substitute. It is also quite sad to be a substitute for Buffon. There are also Argentine star Pastor, back Matuidi, left back Maxwell, and others. Each of them is an international player. Compared to the youth team, Paris Saint-Germain's first team can be regarded as a star. Just looking at the strength of the books, Paris Saint-Germain's squad even got the whole of Europe, and it is the top lineup of the first line. His teammates welcomed Ronaldo's arrival. Finally, Nicolas introduced Ronaldo's origin. He was transferred from the youth team. I hope everyone will help him a lot. Actually, some people are interested in Ronaldo. For example, the team's French high school striker Varro. Ronaldo's arrival undoubtedly threatened his position, so he looked at Ronaldo extremely cautiously, with a bit of hostility in his eyes. But more people are absent-minded. It's all too normal for youth players to move to the first team. However, most of them couldn't stay long, and they were played to go to the reserve. Who knows how long this big man will be able to last in the first team? Perhaps the reserve team is his final destination. He was interested in Ronaldo because of his size. He looked so strong. Although Varro is 192 centimeters tall, he weighs only 77 kilograms, and looks like a thin bamboo pole. Compared to Ronaldo, it is like the difference between a bamboo pole and a stone pier. How much height and weight do you have, Luo? Goalkeeper Ariela asked. Ariela was born in '93, the same age as Ronaldo. Ronaldo also met Ariela in the youth team, but at the beginning of the season, Ariela entered the first team. So the two did not fight side by side either. I am 190 centimeters and weigh 90 kilograms. Ronaldo said. Gee, although I am a little taller than you, you are much heavier than me. Ariela sighed. Ronaldo's weight is definitely not due to fat. It's like that. The kind that is full of muscles. I'm announcing now that you're the strongest guy on our team. Sakho announced, patting Ronaldo's shoulder. This was Ronaldo's first meeting with his teammates in the first team. Episode 26, the first time it was not very comfortable. In the dressing room for the first time, it was not Captain Nicolas Sakho who impressed him the most, but Argentine star Pastor, who just moved to Paris Saint-Germain this year. Unlike Ronaldo, who only has a header, the Argentine star dribbles the ball as if glue sticks to the soles of his feet. There was not much training on this day, mainly because the team had just played a league game. The training volume was not large, mainly recovery training. Unlike the youth team, in the first team, the first language seems to be English. This is also mainly because Paris Saint-Germain is too international. Their main players come from Europe, South America, and other countries, many of whom do not speak French, but they all know more or less English. Therefore, in the first team, Ronaldo's communication with his teammates was smoother. Of course, he also made good progress in his French during this time, so even if he didn't know English, he could still understand some simple French. After training, Combuer chatted with Ronaldo alone for a while, taking care of some things in his life. Then Combuer told Ronaldo very frankly that what Paris Saint-Germain needs at this stage is results, what they need is to keep winning. So, Ronaldo won't have many chances to play in the first team, hopefully he's prepared. Ronaldo was a little hurt when he heard the manager say this. This manager does not believe in his strength. Therefore, after listening to the manager's words, he said to Combuer, "Sir, in this case, you should see my strength before making a conclusion," Ronaldo said calmly. But Combuer heard an extremely strong confidence in Ronaldo's words. Even said, a little arrogant. It's just that Combuer doesn't care, he's not a very controlling manager. He can accommodate some personality players, or the experienced Combuer, who has seen a lot of players with a lot of sex. One more Ronaldo, it's nothing. Of course, Ro. I hope you can always maintain your confidence, Combuer said. He and Ronaldo have no personal grudges, and his main idea is to keep winning to keep his position. If Ronaldo hadn't been able to show enough power to impress his heart, he would have probably given Ronaldo too many opportunities. On the same day, Ronaldo returned to the dormitory. He was thinking back to what Combuer had said to him. It doesn't look like you're going to be easy in the first team, Ronaldo. After entering the system space, the golden robot Xiao Luo said to Ronaldo. It wasn't easy for me at the beginning of the youth team. Ronaldo pouted. He wasn't actually averse to what Combuer said to him. This shows that the manager is a man of honor. Everything will be made clear. In fact, he could have said nothing but allowed himself to train in the first team. But when he said it, it shows that the other party did not play conspiracy with himself, but straightforward. Ronaldo still likes such straightforward people. It's normal, if I were a manager, I wouldn't rush to give an 18-year-old center a chance. I need to prove myself, Ronaldo is at peace. Xiao Luo was slightly stunned. I thought you would be angry about it? Why should I be angry? The manager said this because he didn't know enough about me, what if he understood my strength? Ronaldo smiled slightly and said with extremely strong confidence. Your strength? You're just heading now. I know. So, I'm going to keep improving. By the way, I joined the first team and didn't complete any tasks? Yes, join the first team and reward 300 XP. So how far am I from upgrading now? You also need 3,600 experience. It's still early, bye. Then I continued to train. Ronaldo began a day of sweating at the super training ground again. Ronaldo's numbers in training were mediocre. At the very least, most teammates wouldn't think the big guy qualified for the first team if they looked closely. To be honest, in some areas, he can't catch up with the players in the youth team. With such ability, you can actually be recommended to join the first team? That guy Bar, look away, right? Assistant coach Bertessi muttered in Combuer's ear. Combuer frowned, he did not evaluate the opinion of his assistant. Because of these things, Bar told him. Header. Is this guy's header really that good? Pastore also cast a puzzled look at Ronaldo. He doesn't know what this big man is capable of being selected into the first team? There are quite a few people who think the same way as him. Until the time of the team's corner kick tactical drill. Before the tactics began, assistant coach Bertessi assigned Ronaldo a task. Your role in this corner tactic is feinting, running forward from where you started, making the illusion of heading in the front hall, pulling the defender's attention and then giving teammates the opportunity to put in headers. Bertessi said in detail. Ronaldo was a little upset, but he still sat down according to the coach's arrangement. Mean was responsible for the corner, with the France international kicking the ball in front of goal. Ronaldo cut diagonally into the front hall from the center, attracting the defenders defending him to follow suit. So that the gap is pulled out. The ball streaked above him, and Seiko, the center-back inserted in the back row, jumped up and rushed to the top. The football is slightly higher than the crossbar. Off the field and on the field, everyone burst into applause. It was a beautiful tactical fit. Teammates were still joking with Nicolas, saying it was a shame that the goal didn't score. Ronaldo sees it all. Be a foil to others. This is the first time for him. That taste, not very comfortable. Episode 27, The Strength of Ronaldo. Ronaldo was confident in his header. Likewise, he is well aware of his weaknesses and strengths. His biggest bet now is headers, and now the team's training is completely about making him a green leaf, which is a huge limitation of his play. He desperately needs to prove his heading ability now. Especially, don't let his teammates underestimate him. He rolled his eyes and counted his heart. The hand from the second corner. Ronaldo still thrust forward from the middle as dictated by the tactics. But this time, something is different. When he ran to the front point, he suddenly jumped high. No one would have thought Ronaldo would jump. Moreover, this point is not given to him, ordinary people simply cannot grab it. But Sacco, who followed behind, saw a scene that made his eyes widen. Ronaldo's feet were almost more than a meter off the ground. This was originally a bit high, and he got it alive. And then, shake your head and attack the goal. The football was thrown by Ronaldo towards the back post. Goalkeeper Sirigu didn't react at all and watched the football fly into the goal. Ronaldo landed a little proudly, "Now do you know my strength?" But before he could observe the expressions of his teammates, the whistle sounded first. Assistant coach Bertuzzi was furious. He trotted over and yelled at Ronaldo, "Why do you want to make your own claims? You have to come exactly as the coach asks." Ronaldo smiled and said to the assistant coach, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but do that when I saw the ball flying over." Hearing Ronaldo's explanation, Bertuzzi was also difficult to say anything. At the very least, the attitude of the people is not bad. He rewarned Ronaldo to train strictly according to the tactics arranged by the coach and not to make his own claims, before he retreated. "What a mess," he told head coach Camber. Cambuer smiled and was non-committal. In fact, when Ronaldo jumped up and headed the ball to finish the goal, he was a sight to behold. The purpose of this ball is to pass to the middle, so at the time of the front point, the ball has not completely fallen. But Ronaldo, relying on his excellent bounce and his height, snatched this point abruptly. And, after the power jump, Ronaldo also completed a beautiful lion head shake in the air. Such bouncing ability, such waist and abdominal strength, and equally excellent heading skills. All this made Camber see the reason why Ronaldo was favored by Bar. Admittedly, when it comes to overall quality, Ronaldo is the worst in the first team. But if the light wheel header goes to the top, Ronaldo will be enough to overwhelm all Paris Saint-Germain players with this hand he has just shown, ranking first. And this? Maybe it's Ronaldo's chance. Players with characteristics, at certain times, may be able to play a big role. Ronaldo was depressed. For the next few days, he existed as a feint. He is very marginal in the team and cannot show his good qualities in the slightest. He decided to talk to head coach Camber. As a player who has just entered the first team, Ronaldo does not seem to have the slightest sense of low-key self-awareness. Talking to the manager seems to be a matter of course, you can talk if you want. At the end of the day's training, Ronaldo approached Camber, who wanted to speak to the manager alone. Cambuer was a little surprised by Ronaldo's request, but he agreed. In the manager's office, there are only two people, Ronaldo and Camber. "Do you have anything you want to say?" Cambuer asked. Ronaldo pondered for a long time on the way before coming. He considered it for a moment and said in a tone that was as aggressive as possible, Sir, I have some doubts about some of the use of set-piece tactics against me. Hope to get some answers from Mr. Cambuer sat in a chair and cocked Erling's legs. If Ronaldo hadn't shown strength, he would have sent him out long ago. But after seeing Ronaldo's ability to header, Cambuer had some ideas, and he nodded. "Is it about the arrangement of only letting you feint and not letting you attack?" Ronaldo nodded, "Yes." "Do you want to be the main attacker?" Cambuer asked with a smirk. He kind of likes this kid. Straight to the point, there is no fancy intestines, and the training is very hard. Such a player, Camber still quite appreciated. "I'm confident in my strength, sir," Ronaldo said. "Well. And this energy that is not afraid of heaven and earth. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers." Cambuer smiled. He suddenly nodded, "Good. That's as you wish." This time it was Ronaldo's turn to be surprised. He didn't expect it to go so smoothly at all, and he got it in just a few words. Is this manager so talkative? Although quite unexpectedly. But the result is not bad. He got the result he wanted, happily thanked the manager, and then took his leave. Ronaldo quickly felt the change the manager had promised him. During a tactical training session with corner kicks and attacking free kicks, he was designated as the main point of attack. Ronaldo is eager to try, and he has to show his new teammates how good he is. What he is going to do, the coaching staff has no more arrangements. Cambuer just told him before training started, just put the ball in the goal. As a center forward, that's just the basics. When the football comes out, like a wild horse out of control, Ronaldo rushed towards the landing point. Sacco, who was originally full of confidence, couldn't help but feel a pang in his heart when he saw Ronaldo's momentum. Then he saw Ronaldo jump before him. However, the team's main center-back, Sacco, fell completely behind in the air confrontation. Or rather, defeat. Complete defeat without the slightest suspense. Ronaldo is a head higher than Sacco in the air, and the collision between the two in the air also results in Sacco losing his balance. Next, Ronaldo's powerful head shake attack. Italian goalkeeper, Sirigu. No rescue maneuvers were made. Watch the football enter the net. Hold. There was a surprised inhalation on the pitch. This scene. He surprised them. The captain of the team, the quality of the main central defender Nicolas Sarko, they all know. But in this confrontation, Sacco completely fell into the downside. Sacco fell to the ground, a little confused. It seems that this little brother. The strength is a little beyond my expectations. Just this confrontation, he seemed to be facing not a human being, but a giant bear. Unrivaled power advantage. Simply unreasonable goal. Episode 28 has been upgraded. Light up skill, no ball running master. If it's just a header, it's easy to interpret it as this kid is just lucky or something. Then the following training, Rua Duo, who was constantly in the air, soon changed the way his teammates looked at him. The teammates who didn't know what ability this kid had to join the first team before were all affected. Such a domineering header kung fu is indeed powerful. In a one-on-one with Sacco, Ronaldo won more than 80% of the confrontation. 8 out of 10 wins can be won, and 4 of them can score. Such exaggerated efficiency made everyone look at Ronaldo as if they were looking at a monster. Sacco is very strong in frontal defense. Otherwise, you can't be the captain of the team. But Ronaldo's body is too strong. His explosiveness is amazing, and his header rate is exaggerated. It's also natural. Ronaldo's airmaster skill has reached the second level, and he has increased his header goal rate by another 20% on top of the original goal. Therefore, when it comes to headers, Ronaldo's goal rate is very exaggerated. Combuer also sees this. However, he also wanted to see how far Ronaldo could go. He quickly made adjustments and focused on defending Ronaldo. Sacco and veteran Kamara are too ollie defending Ronaldo alone. The two are combined, and Ronaldo will have a hard time scoring easily. Experienced Kamara takes the main position, while Sacco is responsible for destroying the ball. Several times later, the experienced Kamara and the talented Sacco would cause problems for Ronaldo, because he was fouled by assistant coach Bertuan on several occasions for his top rush. Of course, Ronaldo also won. But it's not as easy as it used to be. Even so, his teammates didn't underestimate Ronaldo either. This is the defense of Paris Saint-Germain's 2 main central defenders. If Ronaldo needs 2 people to defend, wouldn't the other positions be vacant? Wouldn't his teammates have a chance? Football is a team sport, so if one-on-one can't limit Ronaldo, then Ronaldo's role on the field will be prominent. Combuer also had a smile on his face. Even the 2 defensives can find some opportunities. This Ronaldo is indeed eligible to get a place in the first team. Ronaldo, however, was not very satisfied with his performance. In the youth team, even if 2 or even 3 defenders defend, they can cope with it. But when it comes to the first team, the 2 main central defenders come against themselves, and they encounter difficulties themselves. What if you meet a stronger opponent in the game later? Wouldn't that mean only to raise your hand and surrender? Ronaldo felt a sense of crisis in his heart. The strength of the first team players made his originally somewhat proud mentality become calm. In the blink of an eye, it has been a week since Ronaldo was transferred to the first team. During this time, Paris Saint-Germain went away to play the second round of the league against Rennes. In this game, Ronaldo was not able to make the squad. Having only been selected for the first team for less than a week, Ronaldo is naturally not eligible for the squad. But he was not idle either. While his teammates were away from home to Rennes, Ronaldo exercised himself. In the super training ground, Ronaldo trained himself like crazy. Meanwhile, his teammates suffered a bitter draw away from home. Paris Saint-Germain first stole one by Rennes using a quick counterattack in the opening game, and Paris Saint-Germain after falling behind launched a siege. But in the face of the iron barrel array put out by the other side, Paris Saint-Germain seemed helpless. Kevin Gamero was almost submerged in the box. His technique appears useless in such a situation. Paris Saint-Germain launched a last-minute long pass tactic, culminating in centre-back Nicolas Sacco seizing a corner kick to help his team equalize. A draw was received away from home. This is simply difficult for Paris Saint-Germain, which has captured almost the attention of the whole of Europe this season. In the first 2 rounds of the league, Paris Saint-Germain only scored 1 point, with 1 draw and 1 loss. The luxury battleship does not seem to show its power at all. And Combuer's position looks even more shaky. Actually, when the game went into the 80th minute, Combuer was thinking. At this time, if only there were Ronaldo. Played high ball, did not take Ronaldo. Misstep. And when the team returns from away, Ronaldo laughed irrepressibly when he saw his experience bar in the dormitory. Finally. Upgraded. After hard training day and night, he finally upgraded. The game didn't take him, he could only gain experience through training. Fortunately, the super training ground can immediately recover all negative states after training, Otherwise, if he continues to practice like this, even his physical fitness will collapse. But when he saw the upgrade information, he felt that all this hard work was worth it. After leveling up, it means that he has a little more skill point that can be assigned to his favorite skills. Ronaldo thought about it carefully. Now in the words, in confrontation, in the air to seek scramble, judgment, drop point, header chin power above, he is still enough. The only thing to worry about now is being entangled by multiple players on the other side. In this way, even if you have the ability to knock off the defense, you will most likely be awarded an offensive foul. Ronaldo felt that his movements should be more flexible. During this time, he was also observing the way some great center forwards moved in the box. However, none of this is as fast as a direct point skill. Light up skill, off-ball running master. Off-ball master, LV1, skill description, obtain the penalty area offensive running skills of bronze level players, and increase the chance of seizing the dominant position by 5%. Light up this skill instantly. Ronaldo suddenly felt that his understanding of running without the ball was more profound. Episode 29, Mission, The Strong Are King. It's a pity, now it's only level 3. If I had risen more than a dozen levels in a row, wouldn't I be able to become the best football player in the world? Ronaldo felt that he had become stronger, and could not help but be shocked by the power of this skill. It's just a pity that the experience required for the next ascent. That's 50,000 points. That is, according to the intensity of the first 2 days of training, it will take at least half a year. It's just boring. He asked the robot Xiao Luo, didn't you say that there are still tasks? Why don't I have a task prompt now? In fact, the task is going on anytime, anywhere. Oh? What is the goal of the mission? Get a chance to play in the first team. Ronaldo didn't know what to say. Is that all? And also not a mission statement or something? For example, tell me what I should do. How do you get a first team appearance? You don't know. Train hard and win the hearts of the manager. What is said is what is not said. Ronaldo shook his head and continued to train at the super training ground. Although I don't know how to get the favor of Combuaire. But during the next day's training, Ronaldo worked very hard. He couldn't do anything but train hard. However, his luck seems to be good. During this day's training, Kevin Gamero sprained his knee, limped halfway through training, and was helped away. Everyone saw the appearance of Gamero's injury, and judging from his painful expression, it was estimated that the injury was not light. Although this is a bit cruel to Gamero, when the other centers see Gamero injured, their eyes reveal this light. The main center is injured. So, there has to be a center on top. At present, the team mainly plays in the 433 formation. There is only one center position. The position currently belongs to Kevin Gamero, who the team bought for more than 10 million euros this season. In addition, there are 3 central forwards in the first team. They are French center Varro, Congo center Lujuane, and Ronaldo. 4 Bs compete for a position, and it is indeed quite competitive. Of course. Gamero's main position is unshakable for the time being. So, the remaining 3 centers are actually competing for the position of a backup center. In each game, Combuaire selects one of the 3 centers to be used as a backup center. So, when Ronaldo first entered the first team, Combuaire said that he didn't have many chances and did not fool Ronaldo. Because it seemed to Combuaire at the time that Ronaldo's order of appearance was behind Kevin Gamero, Varro, and Lujuane. In the 4th pick. But in fact, when Ronaldo showed his strength, in the mind of head coach Combuaire, Ronaldo's playing order was before Congolese veteran Lujuane. As for Ronaldo and Varro, Combuaire is still weighing in. After all, Varro is a French international level player, although he is only a fringe international, but it is clear that in the eyes of ordinary people, he is more trustworthy than Ronaldo. And Varro saw Gamero injured and down, although he did not look on the surface. But my heart was already excited. He was a regular center forward last season, and this season, the arrival of Kevin Gamero squeezed his position. Now that Kevin Gamero is injured, then the main center is rightfully his. Kevin Gamero's injury made Combuaire very depressed. There is no doubt that Kevin Gamero is a big part of his plans this season. Now that he was injured, Combuaire felt a little tricky, and he didn't even care about training, handed it over to the assistant coach, and followed him to find out about Kevin Gamero. Until the next day. Combuaire announced Kevin Gamero's injury. The French center forward, who has high hopes, will be absent for at least a month and a half. Then, when the training begins. Everyone felt that Varro's training enthusiasm had increased significantly. As for Lujuane and Ronaldo, Lujuane is because he is here at his age and thinks that he can't compete with Varro, and Ronaldo has trained very hard and positively, and there is no need to ask him to work harder. The final event of the afternoon training session was an inter-team match. It is clear that the manager wants to use the game to experience the form and performance of the strikers to determine who will replace the injured Gamero in the weekend's league game. When Barrow received the yellow training vest symbolizing the position of the main force, his face was full of excitement. This was the first time he had received this vest since Gameiro arrived. He was desperate to prove it to the manager in the game. Himself, no worse than Gameiro. In these 2 games, the only goal of the team was scored by the team's central defender, Nicolas Seco. This shows Kevin Gameiro may not be as good as he is playing in this center position. However, Combuware also announced that the color of the vest did not mean anything. But fools can see that in Combuware's heart, Barrow's order of appearance is obviously more ahead of Ronaldo. Because those who got the yellow vests are almost all the main players. If nothing else, the squad in the yellow vests is the one who will face Valenciennes at home at the weekend. Ronaldo stared at the yellow vest on Barrow. Flames also appeared in his eyes. This is the best opportunity. The head coach is right. The color of the vest doesn't say anything. As long as I can show my ability in this game, I can squeeze this Barrow. Kevin Gameiro's hands, luck for Ronaldo. But luck only serves the strong. If you can't become a strong person, you deserve to be substituted. Ronaldo and Barrow have no grievances, but at this moment, Ronaldo has listed Barrow as his number 1 competitor. At this point, on the system's task log, a task was quietly updated. Mission name, The Strong is King. Mission objective, beat the competition, be selected for the competition. Starter list. Combuware took a special look at Ronaldo before announcing the start of the match. When he saw Ronaldo's eager figure, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but turn up. Healthy competition within the team, which any manager would like to see. He has to put a little pressure on these strikers. Episode 30, a beautiful goal, for the substitute group. There are really no tactics to speak of in the team's matches. After all, their main role is to serve as sparring partners for the main lineup. The head coach also rarely guides the tactics of the substitute team, basically, playing according to the usual training things. On the main group, they are still in a 433 formation, the main goalkeeper Sirigu, the central defender combination is Seco with Kamara, left back Maxwell, right back Galette, midfielders Matuidi, Sissoko, Pastor, left winger Mean, right winger Brazilian Nene, center Barrow. This lineup, apart from Barrow, is basically the main lineup of Paris Saint-Germain in these 2 rounds of the league. Since the previous 3 main strikers are all players who are not tall and have delicate skills at their feet, the previous play style of Paris Saint-Germain was mainly on the ground. Compared to the main group, the substitute side cannot field a 433 formation because they lack wingers. Several of the players on the wing are fullbacks, and it is difficult to get them to play as a winger. So, they simply put out a 442 formation, with Congolese veterans Lujuane and Ronaldo playing as double forwards. Lujuane is not tall and fast, which just complements Ronaldo to a certain extent. Since the midfield cannot form an advantage, the substitute side is mainly based on the high point of long passes to find Ronaldo. In contrast, in the main group, Kevin Gameiro is not there, the attack must be carried out around the 2 offensive strong points of Pastore and Mean, and Barrow does not have many opportunities to take the ball. On the bench side, because it is more about the high ball rushing and serving, Ronaldo has more opportunities to perform. On the bench side, the young French midfielder, Cabano took the ball straight up after halftime and looked for Ronaldo. Ronaldo pulled back a little, leaving Sissoko behind him. Molly's back is 190 centimeters tall, the same height as Ronaldo. But the body size is a little smaller than Ronaldo. Therefore, even if he used his hands and feet together, he could not make Ronaldo move half a step. And Ronaldo, after leaning on Sissoko, the weight of the whole body suppressed the opponent, and when the football came, he suddenly withdrew and jumped, and Sissoko could only stumble in embarrassment and missed the time to start and compete for the top. At this moment, the players of Paris Saint-Germain were also surprised. Although Sissoko is also a famous player who has played for such a big club as Liverpool, he has no more to do with Ronaldo in terms of pure physical confrontation unless he fouls. But wouldn't it be more advantageous for Ronaldo to foul in this place and send the opponent a free kick up front? Coupled with the fact that this was a confrontation match within the team, Sissoko did not hurt the killer. Ronaldo, on the other hand, jumped high, headed the ball to his striker Lujuane, and then turned forward. Lujuane took the ball and dribbled it to the wing, and after attracting Maxwell to defend it, he sent the ball to the wing. Fullback Segura plugged in at high speed and chased the ball to the bottom. Middle road. Ronaldo did not hesitate when he saw that Segura's chances were crosses. He followed behind Sacco and ran forward first. Sacco looked back at Ronaldo, and when he saw Ronaldo running forward, he immediately ran forward. Ronaldo saw the scene of Sacco looking back, however, the moment Sacco just turned his head to look ahead. He immediately changed the direction of his run. He changed direction to his left rear and inserted himself in the middle of the penalty area. Such a small change made Combuware's eyes shine on the sidelines. This kid. It seems to have become smarter. Beltuan next to him also nodded. The previous Ronaldo's running position was more straight, and nothing changed. However, just now Ronaldo has changed, and after observation, first deceived Seiko, and then changed direction. By the time Sacco reacted, Sarri's ball had already passed. Restricted area. Only Ronaldo and veteran Kamara's one-on-one remains. In this case, Kamala wants to stop Ronaldo. It's a little harder. This time, however, Ronaldo pressed Kamara to jump and headed the ball into the goal, only to deflect the ball slightly off the goal. Ronaldo, who landed from the air, saw the football fly out of the beam, patted the turf with some chagrin, then got up, turned and ran back. Sacco and Kamara looked at each other, both seeing the experience in each other's eyes. This time, Ronaldo did not use his brute force, but his brain. A very clever deceptive run, ran out of one-on-one and completed the goal. Although he did not score, this time the confrontation between the central defender and the striker was undoubtedly a victory for Ronaldo. Ronaldo didn't care how Vero played. Anyway, this game, he has to go all out and tirelessly pursue goals. He jumped up again and again to compete for the top and put his header to the fullest. Not just with headers, but also when receiving teammates in midfield, he always gets the point and then headers the ball to the feet of his teammates. Now the players in the substitute group saw that Ronaldo's header was so useful, and basically gave up the idea of walking on the ground, and took the ball directly from the back to find the top of Ronaldo's head. Ronaldo pulled back to the midfield to catch the ball, leaving Matuidi and Sissoko in pain. They lost again and again in the fight for headers. You know, whether it is Matuidi or Sissoko, they are both famous momentaries. Among the defensive midfielders in European football, they are all able to rank first. But it still doesn't limit Ronaldo. Although Ronaldo has repeatedly used headers to his teammates in midfield, he still wants to pursue goals. Center. The only crossbar criterion is to score. As long as the goal is scored, anything is easy to say. Don't say it's a striker, look at those defenders, as long as they can score a few goals, they are immediately blown into the sky. No matter how bad their defense is, they are world-class defenders as long as they can score. Ronaldo pursues goals, but Nicolas and Kamara are not vegetarians either. After being tricked by Ronaldo's runway last time, Sacco and Kamara changed their defensive tactics. Sacco goes to pester Ronaldo head-on, while Kamara, who controls the line of football. So, Ronaldo had a hard time getting stuck to the point. Even if you barely grab it sometimes, you will fly under the interference. Ronaldo knew that if he wanted to score under such interference, he had to be more flexible in his movement and create more favorable opportunities for headers. When the football flew off the wing again, Ronaldo suddenly paused, he suddenly retreated and turned around, sparing from behind Sacco. This big man, really flexible. Assistant coach Bertuan lamented. Explosive and weighty, it doesn't look bulky at all. Ronaldo stopped sharply this time, and Sacco couldn't stop the car for a while, allowing Ronaldo to get in. But he immediately stepped in and pulled Ronaldo's jersey. If Ronaldo had gone down now, he would have been able to create a free kick near the top of the penalty area. Very threatening kind. But he doesn't want this set piece. Because even if there is a set piece, he is not to kick, and even if he does, he is not sure to kick in. So, it's cooler to put the ball in yourself. Ronaldo's feet were as hard as a bulldozer, even if the jersey was pulled tightly, he still dragged Seiko into the box. I have to say that the quality of the jersey is also good now. But Nicolas's efforts were not in vain. He managed to slow down Ronaldo's speed and couldn't form the momentum to the top. Ronaldo could only jump on the spot, and he was still pulled by Seiko. And his partner Kamala is a run-up jumper. Sacco breathed a sigh of relief, he really didn't dare to believe that Ronaldo could do something amazing in this situation. Ronaldo also felt great resistance. Jumping on the spot, and being pulled by the jersey, such a confrontation, it is difficult for him to calmly grab this point. But now that the arrow is on the string, Ronaldo can't choose to avoid. As a center forward, you are born to play against a variety of center backs. It is impossible for him to retreat. There will be no retreat. Sacco, who pulled Ronaldo, has a hideous face. Kamara is hideous. The expression on Ronaldo's face was no better. The two are fighting in the air. Ronaldo's shoulder was on top of Kamara's chest. Kamara's body was crooked, but his good balance allowed him not to fall directly, but reached out and pulled Ronaldo's shoulders, pressed down hard, and at the same time stuck his head out to beg. When the other party grabbed his shoulders, Ronaldo also felt his body tilted, and the force of the upward impact was obviously weakened. If it is pressed down by the other party like this, then this ball will not be able to withstand it. Ronaldo is hideous. If it's pulled down by Camarala like that. So how else can I get into the starting list of the competition? How else did you become a football star? In world football, there are many more central defenders who are better than Kamala. Ronaldo gritted his teeth, and his muscles exploded. As soon as the strong waist and abdominal muscles twisted, he continued to rush to the football. The heads of the two looked like they were about to collide. But in the end, Ronaldo was the first to ask for it. The strong impact made Ronaldo's hair rush forward. The football bounces back. Ronaldo's eyes stared at the football, and his body fell from the air. The football is still flying. The main goalkeeper Sirigu's hand was nearby, but he could not react. A powerful header from close range. The ball flies into the goal. Pretty. Some of the coaches watching the game were amazed. This goal, really beautiful. First, a nimble no-ball run throws off Sacco, and then with interference in the back and a block in front, the ball is forced into the goal. It's very difficult. The process of scoring goals is also very exciting. After landing from the air, Ronaldo roared, "Good." Kamara, on the other hand, lay on the ground and touched his chest. Sacco pulled the Kamara up with a wry smile. "Swollen, huh?" Kamara shook his head. "This kid is a monster." Sacco blinked. "Don't worry, I'm afraid this monster won't come back to us to deal with in the future. Rather, our opponents," Sacco said in his heart.